It's Movie Chatter.
Here we are in the Batman episode 2, part 2, full spoiler.
Yeah. Here we go, talking about the new movie.
This movie is, this episode is going to be 100% spoilers from the get-go.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you that Barry Coogan is the Joker at the end of the movie. Just in
Bam.
Bam.
I hope you tuned out already. No, we'll have
Bruce Wayne is Batman. Ooh, I spoiled it.
Good one, Bill.
Yeah, so this is...
Yeah, Barry Coogan from The Eternals and...
All right.
What else is he in, Dave?
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Killing of a Sacred Deer, other shit.
All right, we're pulling
Creepy
off the
ass.
mask. Oh, this music right here, I love this.
Oh, that was excellent. This Nirvana.
The whole
Nirvana.
soundtrack. So Bill and I saw this movie at 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. That's a great time to watch a 3-hour movie. I don't know
On Thursday.
how many movies you've ever been to at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Maybe never.
Tuesday was Thursday.
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 Yeah, never. You guys have never done that before.
That's
Yeah.
the way. That's the move because.
Don't tell my boss I snuck out of work early.
But I mean, we had a Thursday excitement, and then I did something on Friday. It just made the weekend extended it,
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I went at 10 o'clock on Friday.
which was crazy. When I saw the
Crazy.
text, I was like,
Yeah.
Don will be
Well,
asleep by the first.
Yeah, because you get up at, 5 in the morning? Or
Well, not on.
yeah, but I knew that the next day I'd be able to sleep in, and you guys had given it such a big recommend. Masterpiece was the one-word review that Dave gave it.
Well, that was I gave it a masterpiece within 30 seconds of leaving the theater. I posted
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Boom. And I said, there's no way I'm falling asleep during a masterpiece. So I caffeined myself up. I prepared for it, and yeah, I made it through no problem. Loved it.
So yeah, so what was the level of excitement, your build up for this movie? Was it like, okay, I'll go with you, Dave, or was it?
Yeah, because sometimes when people tell you something's going to be really good, it's a letdown.
I mean, but were you
Absolutely.
thinking about it? I mean, for me, I had the thing on my phone here. Right here, we'll show that to the screen here. I've had that on my phone for 2 months.
Yeah, so
And-
you're anxiously awaiting this week.
Anxiously, I haven't been watching trailers. I watched the trailer 1 or 2 times, just the first one.
Yeah.
And
I thought my expectations would be disappointed because, yes, you look forward to it so much, it's got to come across, and I wasn't disappointed.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
very nervous that I would be disappointed.
I was waiting for it. I having seen the trailers, from that first I think it's basically the opening scene in the subway where he just goes brutal on those fucking, subway vigilante or those, hoodlums.
What's your name? What's your name?
Very
Oh, yeah.
similar to
Vengeance.
very similar to the Joker.
I knew.
How about the Joker? It started off with him with a fight
Yeah,
on the
getting-
subway.
getting brutal. You're right, exactly, and it sets the tone. And
Gotham is a shitty place to live.
Yeah.
yeah,
Clean
That's
that place up.
right.
I mean, that's like New York 1970.
A lot of crime.
Very, very right. I mean, wasn't Joker takes place? It's a dated movie, right?
Right, yeah.
This was modern day, but yeah, I love that take on Gotham as being in decay.
No,
I mean,
Joker-
there's garbage everywhere.
Joker is today.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think so.
Boy, I mean, just looking at the
Oh, you're right. No, it's kind of a Johnny Carson thing.
that old Johnny Carson stuff.
Maybe
going
it's
on.
a little. I'm not sure.
So, yeah, that would have been like the 60s, maybe.
But I'm old, so
70s.
everything, anything past like 1980 is modern.
I know this was definitely supposed to be modern, but super dark, super noir, and
So is your level of excitement? I mean, were you waiting for this movie?
yeah, I totally was. I mean, I didn't buy my tickets early.
No, I didn't either. I did not do that. I was going to go, I'm going to take a single seat, and I was just going to squeeze in there wherever I could. But we got great seats, Bill.
What about you, Bill? Excited to see it, or were you like, okay, would you have seen it had Dave not suggested to go see it?
Oh yeah, I've had it on my calendar for 2 months.
There you go. And we see it the first weekend. How many movies are big that, I mean, The Eternals came and went, and we never went to see that in the theater right off the bat.
Right.
So I would have to say very excited about it. And
Again, I was afraid my expectations would be too high, and it didn't disappoint.
To tell listeners, how does Batman rank in your overall Marvel superhero, DC Marvel, all of them combined?
Yeah.
Where is Batman?
You mean this movie, The Batman?
No.
Just like, I love Iron Man. Dave loves the Hulk.
Where is Batman?
You're maybe a Captain America kind of guy. I don't know. If you
I
have
might be a
favorite
Fantastic Four guy.
Fantastic Four guy.
Oh, yeah.
But you've always been a kind of a DC guy. A little bit, haven't you? I mean,
Yes,
he's
it's
asking,
just
like, do you love the Batman as
the trouble is,
character?
it's like every 2-3 years, there's been another Batman for the past
Right.
40 years.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know,
mean, that's how it goes.
Ben Affleck never got a movie. I mean, what about that? I mean, it's so different.
He didn't want a movie.
He didn't want a movie. Yeah, I would say, to answer your question, Dave, that of the DC characters,
No, of all superheroes,
he is
mid-pack for you?
pretty high. No,
Okay.
No, pretty high.
Okay.
No, I love it. I mean, because I compare him. My favorite is Iron Man, who's Tony Stark, who is another guy who really doesn't have superheroes, and he's supposed to be a rich guy who's really smart and uses that to create this
I think of
alternate persona.
all the James Bond movies I've seen. I mean, he's going to get the bad guy. Batman's going to get the bad guy. Bruce Wayne, he's rich like James Bond does, or there's always some rich guy in there. Well, I can't wait for the next James Bond, and I can't wait for the next Batman, because they always do a good job, but they keep reinventing it. So now we had the Christopher Nolan. How many were that? 3?
3.
Okay, the Christopher Nolan trilogy, and now it's on to Matt Reeves.
And I'm sure we're going to get 3 Matt Reeves movies for
I
sure.
think I've heard that.
Is that what you're saying?
And then we're going to get 3 more of somebody else.
And I'm excited to see what they'll do next.
That's how
We kind of know they're going to bringing Joker in.
That's how I stay living, just to see how many groups of 3s I can make it through. Do I get to see
All of them.
6 more?
Get to see all the Jurassic Parks.
Okay, so let me know.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So the big differences between this movie and Christopher Nolan movies. Think about that in your head, because after this movie got out at 8:20, got home at by 8:30, I immediately watched The Dark Knight right after watching this, and was shocked at how dark I thought The Dark Knight was.
Step in a little bit, would you?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so not only is it a dark, gritty movie, it's physically, cinematographically dark images. I mean, oftentimes it's a night in an alley while it's raining.
Right. You're just somebody's like lit by a street light, and that's all you can see.
We have The Dark Knight as our 7th best movie of all time.
Yeah.
And after watching it immediately after The Batman,
What did you think?
I would say I was shocked how, to me, it immediately slotted itself back to, Michael Keaton type movies.
It stepped down quite a bit to you?
No, it seemed so
It seemed dated.
crystal clear and not dark at all. It
Yeah.
seemed like
Right.
a really good
Isn't that
filmed
something?
movie. Yeah, the perspective back to back was shocking.
I bet. I did watch The Dark Knight. The last half hour of it, I've been kind of watching a little bit of it. It's on Netflix these days, and I did definitely get that feeling of this is a big Christopher Nolan movie, and it's very clean, and it's just got a completely different feel. But I think that's the thing, that they're coming at it from two different perspectives. I left that one going, yes, it seems more cartoony, more like that Michael Keaton where we look back and we go, wow, that's really cartoony.
Well,
But
all the
but it's still really good. I still thought, I still
They're
love
phenomenal.
that. I don't know if I love Heath Ledger as the Joker. I think he licks his lips too much, and everybody, that's sacrilegious to say that he's not the best Joker. I don't know who would be, but and then
Joaquin Phoenix by a long shot to
yeah,
me.
yeah,
But the thing about these movies, we have The Dark Knight Rises behind us for right now. We're watching that, and the Nolan trilogy is phenomenal. I'm gonna love them forever. I own them all on 4K hard discs.
yeah.
Watch them often, but after watching this movie, these now seem like they just moved down a category to accessibility. Like these are made for everybody. Where
right.
the Batman is not made for everybody. I saw a lot of kids like walking out to get soda. It looks like a movie that may not hold a young person's attention.
I can see
Yeah,
what
that's a
you're saying.
good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did you notice that there was a lot of people walking out? I mean, not walking out of the movie, but like
I didn't see that.
I was shocked how many people were, going to get soda and coming back and not looking like I'm looking at them. Like, how come you're not looking at the screen?
Right. Did you immediately see what you're missing?
Yeah, like they didn't even care. They were missing something. So that was shocking.
Yeah, very different that way.
Casting pluses and minuses of this movie. What do you think about, I know, Bill, you never really liked Christian Bale going, with his low voice.
I was going to say
You
that
like
as
that?
well.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. So Pattinson had kind of a whispery voice, but it was still believable. It was.
It was a regular voice.
He was
wasn't.
a
Yeah, it
regular
wasn't. He
voice.
didn't exaggerate it much. It was slightly different, but
Yeah, right. It's a little bit breathy or a little.
Yeah, some slight, but it wasn't like Christian Bale's.
No, he wasn't going for that growly, tough guy voice.
I mean, okay, let's just go through it. Robert Patterson, yes.
Pattinson.
Zoe
Patton.
Zoe Kravitz, phenomenal.
Awesome.
Phenomenal.
Jeffrey Wright, do you have any problem
That's
with that?
Gordon. No.
Colin Farrell, no.
great.
Here's the only two right here. Paul Dano
As the Riddler.
You have to go back now. As the Riddler and John Turturro as the crime boss there.
As the crime boss, the mafia guy, the main villain.
I wasn't excited about them being in the movie.
Compare Paul Dano to the comedian Riddler. God, who was in Liar Liar.
Oh gosh, Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Obviously,
what a difference.
Sure, absolutely.
This
What
guy
about-
looks like an insane killer.
I always have a problem with superhero movies. The villains, they never live up to me to the hero themselves. So I would have to say that. I
mean, he was pretty-
Colin Farrell was pretty damn good. This guy, who's the one that I really hate in the Superman movies? Who plays Lex Luthor?
All right.
It was also in
Yeah.
that social media movie.
Social media, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Starts with an E.
right, that guy. So I thought Paul Dano. I mean, he's behind a mask most of the time.
Right, and he was violent. I mean, he was killing people, smashing them over the head, cutting their thumbs off. What did you think about the thumb drive?
That was hilarious.
Oh God, that's funny.
I loved the Riddler. I mean, it was all well written. I love the
When
Riddler
they
stuff.
put like a something over the person's head, and there was like a rat inside.
Oh, yeah, the rat's maze.
Because I've seen
Saw.
one movie where a rat actually was eating away at someone's stomach. I don't know if that was in the movie Saw, but I immediately thought, wow, they are going dark here where they're putting this thing over the guy's head to torture him.
He definitely
with a
had
rat inside there that might eat his face
a
off.
lot of good torture-y kind of
But they didn't go quite that
situations.
far.
No, they didn't. But I mean, he was the thumb cutting off, the I don't know, like ziplocking a guy in a car so he bashes through a wall.
And I liked all the riddles. I mean, it was kind of fun trying to figure them out.
I love those a lot. I loved those a lot. You were then also going to say, what about John Turturro, the guy
crime boss.
He's a silly guy for me,
from the Transformer
from the
movie.
Transformer movies,
Yeah,
and
I would have liked to see somebody else.
he's humorous, but
I loved him in Brother Where Art Thou.
he did not wreck it for me because
No.
it'll be much better to watch this a second time because the first time, every time he was on the screen, I was staring at him going, you better not wreck this. You better not make any kind of like
Right.
facial expression that's going to, do your own thing.
Yeah.
You have to
I know
play
what you
it
mean.
like the director. And he was phenomenal. I like those creepy, semi-dark Tony Stark sunglasses he had on. Must be very expensive.
So I think in the next one, they bring back Colin Farrell, of course, as the Penguin. I mean, they kind of set it up that way. We'll probably see the Riddler and the Joker. There's already talk about who. Do we know who's going to play the Joker?
Barry,
Barry Coogan.
I don't know. him.
Keegan.
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah, you know him, Bill. I'll show you a picture of him.
All right.
Killing of a Sacred Deer. He was in the Eternals,
Dunkirk.
He plays a
Oh,
very
wow.
quirky fellow.
But he's kind of handsome, isn't he?
No,
He is not handsome at all.
Oh,
no,
okay.
he
I
looks
got
like
the wrong guy.
he looks kind of like odd.
Right there.
Oh yeah, he is a odd-looking guy.
Yeah.
Nerdy looking.
But he's so creepy in Killing of a Sacred Deer that,
a great actor.
He has that, he could play any villain.
okay.
Yeah, I definitely see him being
And
like.
he's quite young, so it's not going to be like some of these guys that played Joker are so old.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean,
I like the fact that all the villains were so grounded as real people. They're just literally like crime bosses. They don't have any superpowers whatsoever.
Right.
There's no penguin with little, maybe next time we'll have a cane that squirts something out
There
of it.
was one scene where Colin Farrell as the Penguin was in handcuffs. His feet were in handcuffs too, and he had to walk like the Penguin.
He had a little penguin-y walk.
Yeah.
You're
He
right.
did. You're
but
right.
that was
that
was probably a nod to that. But otherwise, he was just a normal guy.
Oh, that's excellent, Bill. I did not even notice that. But you're right, Dave. I mean, they were
It's
not.
There's no Mr. Freeze,
And to be honest, I was going to mention that also the Batman himself did not rely on a lot of gadgetry, and he wasn't going to the bat belt for his gadgets. He had the eyeball things, which were cool,
which were spectacular.
The contact lenses with the recording devices in them.
That was a pretty cool one.
And then other than that, it was all like grappling hooks. He was like, that was his main deal, was like he was going to shoot a wire up.
Something that came off of his chest also.
Something that came up, but
he did have adrenaline stick that he
that was
put
but to
in
me
his-
that's very like, I don't know, like realistic.
He did come
Yeah.
off that pretty quick. Did you notice he was adrenaline pretty quickly, but then he calmed down.
I don't know how. I'm not familiar
That
with.
was a great.
This is the end scene where he's on the chandelier in the auditorium fighting all the guys, and he's down. Then he shoves it in.
Right, he's nearly.
I would have liked them
out
to
of
have.
it.
I wish he would have had to take 2 shots. You know, like over drugging himself. You know.
Well, and in that scene they showed how he needed Catwoman to come to his rescue because he was about to fall off.
Oh, that's right.
He was just exhausted.
Yeah.
And she had to pull him up, otherwise he would have died. So, you know, not
realistic.
not a superhero,
Yeah.
not invincible. He could get injured.
Right, he was like all of the characters. That was the notably different part from this to say the Dark Knight and the Batman Begins and the Christian Bale version, where he was a very polished Batman. I mean, he was
He was a billionaire,
a billionaire businessman. Whereas this is like he's figuring shit out, and he doesn't have his shit together.
Well, the thing about this movie is
but somehow
he's still
Batman.
like year 2. You know, you don't need to see origin. We know everything
I did
about
love that. I did love that. That to me puts this like way up there. There's oftentimes the origin part of these superhero movies, the first one
is garbage.
It's very distracting. I don't like to wait until you get your powers and you figure it out. I love it. He walked out of the dark as the Batman. You know, we didn't have to learn about it. Eventually you got some backstory, some history stuff.
They didn't do too much backstory.
No, not really.
What would you say? Within 5 minutes, he's beating the shit out of those
Bill,
people?
we looked
Yes.
over to each other after 5 minutes of the movie and said,
Oh, that's right.
we said, we have got our money's worth now.
Already, and it was just 5 minutes into the
we
movie.
could walk out. So,
That
I mean,
was awesome.
you know, that's your classic Movie Chatter podcast. Is the movie good enough?
There you go. 15 minutes or 50 minutes go.
First 5 minutes, it was
First
worth it.
5 minutes is good. Spectacular. Just beating the fuck out of those peoples on the subway.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Number one thing when people think about Batman is the Batmobile.
Ooh.
Love the sound of this thing. There was just a scene where it was just like, what's that noise?
It was actually like its own character. You know, it had it was
rumble of the engine.
But it was again similar in that it didn't look like it was like highly polished. As opposed to the Christian Bale one where it looked like something out of
Took a Charger or a Super B and just put a big engine
that's
on
what
it.
Christian
very
Bale's
good
was,
guess, Bill,
was
'cause it was basically a 70 Charger, heavily modified. I mean, really heavily modified. Even has a rear engine.
yeah.
I read
and
actually
a jetpack.
right.
Plus, the bumper was good enough to bang through things.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like the front of a train.
And actually,
right. Super durable.
what I liked is they didn't give any. Did you notice, obviously, that the engine that was in the car early on in the movie was on an engine stand?
Right.
So they didn't.
Yes.
They didn't even show that timeline of
That's
him or somebody he hired to help.
Right.
Finish the car. And
I did notice that.
it was like a quad or a twin turbo V10. I noticed.
Alfred must have did that.
Yeah, and like all the exhaust was just routed into a single exit.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
I can't wait to look at it closer.
If you've seen videos of like people with like twin turbo Lamborghinis on the internet that blow blue flames out.
Oh no.
That's basically what this was.
That wasn't a big like rocket engine at the end?
No, that was just the exhaust.
Oh wow.
Oh
wow. Okay.
Massive horsepower blowing
okay.
blue
wow.
like over fueling.
Yeah.
Right, so it's still part of the flame coming out of the exhaust.
Right, that is just horsepower shooting out, which made it way more realistic than just a rocket.
Yeah. And then he was also on a motorcycle too.
But a couple old BMWs.
Right, and I did notice that his did have sort of a bat fairing in the front.
Oh yeah.
At the end, but also not. It's certainly nothing like Christian Bale's. Which I love. I love Christian Bale's with a ridiculously gigantic tire.
Yeah,
and it was like 20 feet long.
But this is more realistic.
Right, much more realistic. And Catwoman's on her bike, and they're in the movie with them kind of zooming zooming down the road and then each taking a different path.
I kind of liked, speaking of the Batmobile, there was no real sense of I loved how they let you fill everything in. They didn't go, the timeline is all screwed up.
Okay.
Like you don't know how far it is of a jump. Like, did you notice how, when did he put the engine in the car? So obviously
Right.
it shot forward a month or two.
Did it?
Well, how do you go from an engine stand to a running Batmobile?
I haven't analyzed the movie that much to get a good.
I'm just saying
thought
a lot of
on
stuff
how long-
happened, and
You could put an engine in a day, can't you?
no, I mean,
Yeah, you could.
I don't know.
Alfred, that's all he's got to do.
They're not. I mean, they aren't going to assume that people know that that's really hard to do.
No, but-
they just wanted to show you that. Okay, there's valves and camshafts sitting on this thing, so he is really smart, and he's going to be able to put this thing together himself.
Right.
you
Well, they
know?
were making, they definitely had all the shots of he's working on this car.
Yeah. Right.
But they didn't show you for 1 second. They didn't do Tony Stark working,
Right.
with
Right.
a little wrench, ratcheting,
Absolutely. They definitely skipped all of that sort of stuff.
which I liked.
Regarding.
Like
Yeah,
you don't need that. You just need a screenshot of
I did too.
of car parts. Next time, you got boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
And it was great in that Atmos sound system.
I heard
of
that
theater. Wow.
that
Oh,
that
yeah.
Robert actually drove that car in that scene
Really?
up to 100 miles an hour.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's exciting.
Which
That's
scene
cool.
was that? The one where they're chasing? And
Yeah, where all of a sudden the penguin is laughing that he got
Oh,
away.
right.
got you. I got you.
That's right.
God,
That's
I
from
mean,
the trailer.
The thing about it, right? That's the one scene I remember from the trailer. But I was so happy that scene was so much more than the trailer.
Right, like it's like so many times when you've like seen everything.
yeah, you're like,
Yeah, like you saw the whole good
oh
part.
God, it was so exciting.
Right.
Yeah,
It's much better than that.
Yeah.
So as we've evolved from all these movies and compare it to Christopher Nolan's, just in general, our culture demands more realism from all of the things. We want
Yeah.
better language. We want better writing, more accurate. Oh, he would never say something like that, right?
Yeah.
And this is less of a superhero movie and more of a
World's Greatest Detective.
detective story,
I mean,
right?
he's just on the crime scene, not saying a word, just looking like
Right.
like an actual detective.
I love that. Right. It was
And now his eyes can record everything, and then he actually
Yes.
goes back later and rewinds and looks at the
I
details.
loved,
Great.
I loved it as they were going through some of the crime scenes, and he would look at something, and then there was like a police photographer that was taking note of what he was looking at. He saw like a blood stain on the ground, and then she, after he noticed it, took a picture of it. So
Yeah.
they were almost, getting information from him.
I just loved all that. I mean, that was my favorite part of the movie, was him being super quiet around all the cops, and all the cops, like, get this fucker out of here.
Now,
Yeah.
that's one thing that struck me that Pattinson could pull off. So often, he wouldn't do anything. He's just in his mask, looking.
Intimidating.
That's it. He's just there.
Yeah.
No, there's no jokes. There's no talking. He's just has that presence. So that's why I say he was born to do this part.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna. Did we say in the last show or whatever that he has the best look? His lower jaw is
Yeah.
better than anybody.
It really is.
I mean, he looks like the Batman. I mean,
got a giant
that
jaw.
helmet was great.
Oh, let's talk about that helmet. Yeah. You were saying that you didn't like the pointy ears so much.
Right. I would like them to just be ears, but on the side of the head, so they're just like an image pulled out slightly.
I think if you rewatch
Real
it,
bats don't have pointy ears like that. They have much lower, smaller ears. And he's supposed to be a bat, right, to scare people. I don't. He's got to have the cape, so he's got to do that. I mean, Batman just has to have a cape, but
I think it's tactical. I think people make fun of the cape, but I think he would say that it's probably bulletproof. And
I mean,
so
you
that,
can't get rid of that unless you're going to do a
they would say
completely redo. I mean, look at his ears right there. We're watching The Dark Knight Rises. Huge. Okay.
right. It's traditional now.
and even the Christopher Nolan one was a much more realistic version than the previous
Yes.
versions of Batman. So we
Right.
just keep going up and up.
I mean, this one looked like he hand stitched that
yeah,
helmet
like
together.
to me, like the nose part of it, you could see it was very square. It was like it went straight across, and then it was kind of like in a three-sided
Like
piece.
if he got punched there, he's breaking his nose.
Yeah, right. It was not. It wasn't like the perfectly formed ones, like the Christian Bale. Like, didn't he like order like a bunch, like a box full of helmets or something like that?
Yeah.
Whereas this looks like he made it. Although his chest piece was very super
I loved
strong.
I
and-
love
and
the
Yeah, it was
fact-
bulletproof.
fabricated.
He was hit by
I
machine guns.
love the fact that he's being shot at constantly.
How'd you
That
like
was
that
cool.
equilibrium moment in the house?
That is the best shot of the entire movie. It went too quick, but
If you've seen the movie Equilibrium, there's a lot where Christian Bale is shooting a machine gun in total darkness.
a pistol.
And and he's so aware just by his hearing of where people are that he can literally do a gunfight in the dark. Well, Batman, who knows? Maybe we'll find out later
the
that
thing-
he has sonar or something that he can see in the dark.
Equilibrium was the first. That was the first time that was ever done where they actually lit the entire scene by gun flashes.
Oh yeah.
So this was a copy
I love
of
that movie.
Equilibrium. I've never seen that before. I mean, I've never seen that since.
Right.
And oh my god, I can't wait to watch that
wait
on
to
your
see it
TV
again.
bill.
Yeah.
It's gonna look so good. Oh my god.
So, I mean, even here at this theater where it was so dark, if you see it at home on a QLED or an OLED, those blacks are gonna be even blacker, and it's gonna look cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how this movie will play on an average person with their 40-inch TV in the living room with the lights on.
Yeah, I would want to see this at night with the lights off.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah,
it
it's
is so
I
dark.
think. Yeah.
I think you have to prep yourself almost like a horror movie, right? I mean, like
Turn off all the lights.
It's definitely
it's so moody.
definitely super moody. I mean, it's raining the entire time, and it's just got that feel, that dark noir feel.
Now,
that
Dave,
everybody talks
you
about.
listened to the score. You downloaded that from Spotify.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Bill.
It added so much. I mean, I'm not a big soundtrack guy, but
The
this
score
is
is like another person in the movie.
because, again, like you said, there's a lot of not talking. There's a lot of not dialogue. There's a lot of just moody sequences that they're giving you the feel through the music.
It was incredible. I mean, it has so much to do with the movie. It just was like the whole thing, the Nirvana song, and it's just his character. This is like, 80s grunge type of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Perfect.
the perfect Nirvana song.
Oh, so fantastic.
Don't
Should just-
actually know which one it was, but I recognized it.
I think we're gonna just let the soundtrack.
Yeah. I think you should. Yeah, just let it go.
Yeah.
Let it play in the background, the entire thing.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So we've had a couple of days, or so to just let it sit. And as
Right.
we reflect on The Black Knight being one of the top 25 movies.
Or the Dark Knight.
The Dark
Oh, did
Knight.
I say The Black Knight?
Bill's
did.
really old.
The Green Knight, Black Knight.
There was a Green Knight that we
There
saw,
was.
right?
There was.
There'll probably be, who knows, The Black Knight will be.
I bet you if
Could
I
you
looked
see
it
a
up, there was.
black Batman? I don't know if that would work, but Idris
Sure.
Elba maybe does that.
Ooh.
I'd like to see that one. Maybe that'll be the next one.
You were saying,
I
though,
would like to see that.
Be called The Black Batman.
so you were saying we've had a couple days to let it digest.
Right. And do I like it better? We're watching one of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies on the side here. You can't see it obviously on a podcast, but maybe on YouTube you see it. And those had a little bit more fun elements to it.
They're more accessible to everybody.
Right.
You know, got Anne Hathaway as the Catwoman. She was a little bit light, whereas Zoe Kravitz was, you know, dead serious.
She was. I thought, you know,
Very sexy.
She actually, if there's any lightness to the movie, she brought a little bit
A
of
little
that.
bit.
Right. She brought a little bit of, you know, certainly sex appeal and a little bit of humor, I thought.
She was always teasing Batman.
Right. A little bit of human, you know, that was his, like, she was his, like, lifeline to a little bit of human contact or something like that. She
Yeah.
was like a friend to him. There is actually a movie called The Black Knight, Bill. It was 1954. It was a King Arthur's Time movie with Alan Ladd.
Oh,
So.
see, I must have been thinking that one.
Yeah, that's the one you were thinking of.
Sure. Anyway, so as I look, would this get onto the top 25? Maybe too early to think about that.
I won't
It's
even.
the number
We
one
have a
movie of
rule
all
that
time.
we
Won't
got to
even
last a
discuss that.
year before
Number
we-
one movie of all time.
Yeah, but I definitely, when I watched this movie, I was tearing up just thinking to myself, "Oh, thank God I lived long enough to see another great movie."
Oh yeah.
Because you don't always see the ones that hit the top 25 here.
Especially
They don't-
when you're
the
excited
Jurassic
about them.
Parks,
You're
the-
right, Bill.
The Groundhog Days, the Dark Knights. I mean, yeah,
Everything can't be Godzilla versus Kong.
Right. I mean,
that's right.
for 2022, this is definitely the best movie so far.
Right. I mean, even if you built it up in your head too much, this movie, I don't know. I'm not going to read negative reviews of this movie, so I have no interest actually in hearing anybody's negative review, but
I haven't heard any negative reviews.
no, I don't know what your negative review would be.
Yeah, negativeness. I mean,
It's not accessible
you
enough.
said
It's
Totoro
it's
might have
too
been not
dark,
good.
or people think that they
That-
can't
probably
get
what they would
Twilight out of their head,
Right.
which would be ridiculous.
No, that I can't. There's no way you can criticize. You could maybe criticize the tone or that it's too dark, not accessible enough, something like that. Somebody going in wanting a different movie than what they got.
I mean,
you
I'm
know.
watching The Dark Knight Rises behind you, and I mean, every shot of Batman that I see is nearly a cartoon to me. It's so. Look at. Oh, you're missing it, Bill. But yeah, I mean. You
Right,
see
it looks-
the
his-
clarity of his mask and
Right.
helmet. It
looks very
I think this is the-
1960s
I think-
Batman, Adam West almost.
I'd say that's the worst of the Christopher Nolan ones here. I mean, what about Batman Begins?
Yeah, that's
2000
great. That's
2005.
great.
That was kind of cool.
You know, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
I mean, it wasn't as dark as this one, but
no, but at least you had that was an origin story, and that was pretty cool. As you know, him going to that wherever he went, that Asian country, into the high mountains to learn.
Liam Neeson was his mentor.
Right, all of that. I mean, very different, but it made it. That was the
look
gritty
at-
part of it.
That looks like a molded thing.
Look
What I loved about this movie
The mask
was
looks weird.
Oh yeah.
the DIY look of
Right.
everything. The
Right.
Catwoman
Yes.
looked like she just took a hat and kind
Yeah.
of cut it up.
She did, right. It was just a knit, winter hat that she just cut a couple slots in. And the car. That's what I was saying before. Like the Christopher Nolan Batmobile looked like, it was like a military vehicle.
I mean, it was
like-
supposed to be.
Right,
He just ordered it out of a catalog, basically.
There you go.
Right. And
Where this is a purposely built 4-wheel drive
Mm-hmm.
monster.
I mean, that was more like the Wayne being more like Iron Man.
Yes.
Stark Industries.
Right,
And that was
exactly.
a military piece
I
of
mean,
equipment.
you realize
and
they
Whereas
were
this one, he's more of a young, rich kid that just has a lot of. He's pissed.
Yeah, they did not get into that at all. I mean, right. Oftentimes, I think that's throughout history, Bruce Wayne being a really rich guy is a big part of the
That's
whole
like
story.
in the Dark
they
Knight.
skipped over that in this.
The Dark Knight. Yeah, we can move these tables together because I own the hotel.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
They didn't do any of that.
This one,
in
he's literally in a hoodie with a baseball cap.
That's
at
what I
some
loved
points
about
of
this movie was the fact that you saw Bruce Wayne, you saw Batman, and then you saw him in a middle. He was kind of
Just
like,
as
he actually had some makeup like residue on his eyes. He had a baseball cap on and a hoodie. He was like...
That was another realistic detail,
Yeah.
the black on the eyes, because
I
when
love
you
that.
look into a mask,
Yes.
the eyes will be white if you don't black it out,
They've-
right?
right.
And they never do that on the
Never.
Christopher
You-
Nolan
you-
movies.
No, actually they do.
Oh, they do? I'm sorry.
But you're not seeing...
You don't
Them
see him
take
with,
off the
with-
mask.
Right.
I mean, take off the makeup.
Right, you're not seeing that part. But
Yeah.
his
okay.
eyes are completely black.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Well, right. In this one, they showed,
The realism of what he would look like
Yeah.
with the mask off. Right.
Right.
You mean that's
kinda cool.
That is a shot that you might have liked to seen. Christian Bale, just getting out of the suit, and I still haven't wiped my eyes off yet.
Let me jump into...
You
let me,
did not see that.
Let me
'cause
change
they're-
your perspective.
they're
What did you
sanitizing it.
about the jumping off the building in the bat suit and crashing?
Oh, there you go again.
That's exactly what I wanted to see.
Like, it's not gonna work
As
right.
it was happening, I'm going, first of all, he was scared shitless to even do
Perfect.
the jump. I think he even made like a look like,
Like, this is the first time I'm actually going to have
fuck,
to use this.
I'm going to have to do this.
Yes.
Okay, and then I go, what's he going to do? And then it turns into a flight.
Yeah.
Which is real. I mean, that's 100%
People
real.
can do that.
And a lot of those people that do that die.
They
yeah.
do- right.
And so he lands so horribly, he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And I like that part of it. Again,
did too.
realism.
Yeah, Batman limping out of
Yes.
the scene.
Right.
Like Tom Cruise.
As opposed to like an Iron Man thing where he would have it all worked out perfectly, or, Christopher Nolan's Christian Bale version where
Yeah.
all of their tech stuff was just
Right.
so perfect.
And then you just land perfectly.
Exactly. I mean, and I do like that part of the, Christian Bale Batman and other Batman versions where that's kind of a cool thing. It's like James Bond. What gadget is he going to have in this episode?
Have you ever
and you
seen
like that.
documentaries of the guys that use these flying squirrel outfits?
No.
I mean, they are going around, so they get in a tall mountain area where there's a lot of updrafts,
Oh, okay.
and so the updrafts is what keeps them up. Really, when you just jump off a building, I don't know if there's going to be updrafts. So I don't know if that was so real in that respect, but I never thought about it. How did these guys land? Because they just show them like whizzing by on the mountain
Yeah.
and going back and forth on these things.
Eventually, you got to
These thrill seekers.
Yeah.
Thrill seekers. That's it. They have a parachute. Now, did he have a parachute in this one?
I remember he kind of spies like a semi going under a bridge that he's like, ooh, I can kind of land on that.
Oh, that's
and then
right.
I think he might have pulled something and then got snagged on the bridge as it went underneath.
It was very last second.
Okay, so the parachute didn't work. Totally.
Maybe that's what it was.
Okay,
but
I think
yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, it was. I love that part of it though. Right, it's that unpolished version of Batman that's so new.
How about the use of all this red and black?
Well, right. I mean, you can start with this popcorn thing that's right in front of us. It's all red and black.
I mean, everything
And
looked
the
like a piece
lettering.
of art.
Yeah, and
Love it.
it brings up a feeling of horror.
Right? I mean,
Oh,
how
yeah,
about
blood.
the shot of him holding the flare
Yeah, which is what it's all based on.
and taking the people to safety in the
Yeah.
water.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. It's
that overhead shot.
That's where they're getting all these from.
Oh, so beautiful.
Yeah, looked visually, it's iconic. That's what we're gonna always, when you think of this, it's gonna be the red and black.
Well, even
Batman.
the credits, I think, were in red and
Were they?
black. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
they were. They were.
Well,
100%.
these guys, they know what they're doing. They like a theme, tonality. They used to have that with the Matrix movies. They had that weird green tone to everything.
Right. Everything was green.
And now maybe this is gonna be his tone here.
What did you think about? Okay, let's talk about the Riddler a little bit. With his creepy kind of glasses, and
I thought it was a great blend of.
did you like when he was going,
Great blend of what?
Bruce
Oh, that was at the very end.
Wayne?
What did you think it was a blend of?
Well, a blend of high-tech computer stuff where he got, through social media, he got all these other people to wear masks and look like him at the end. So he was able to reach out. So they're using today's technology to make this movie where you can have these fringe groups that are on some kind of weird social media.
I think they were kind of channeling like the attack on the White House. Personally,
Right,
Oh,
'cause
okay,
that-
sure.
Oh yeah, right. Stand by, because we're gonna take on the White House. So in this case, it was another interesting point where New York had all these walls, or I'm saying New York, but Gotham was
Gothamville.
so the water is going to come in,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they blow up the walls to flood and just literally kill thousands of people,
Oh.
right?
That was big time. That was pretty epic.
And they're all running to the auditorium, and they know that's where people are going to run, and then they're going to kill them there. They're all ready to just shoot them with machine guns and kill them. So I love that. But
he was a really well thought out,
it was dark,
big time
dark.
villain. Yeah.
he was right. I mean, that's really evil. That's not a
Yeah.
happy Batman
No.
fun movie.
No, I mean similar like The Dark Knight, where the Joker has the people get on the boats, and then they have to he puts all the criminals on one boat and some other people on another boat.
Oh, yeah, that was
and then,
clever.
And then they both were supposed to turn a key and blow each other up or something like that.
But this Riddler thought he was kind of like Batman. He thought he was doing good.
You're right.
He actually,
In the end.
I want to be besties with you.
Right. In the end, he thought when he finally met him that they would
Be like a team.
Right. That he would be like, oh, I love what you're doing.
And he's like, fuck you. You're going to die alone in prison.
Now, I interrupted you when you were talking about how he, at the end, he's in prison, the Riddler, and Batman's visiting him somehow, and he's going, Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne," just making weird sounds. I think that actually made sense because when people are in a mental institution and they're all alone, they start getting weird.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
I thought that made sense. He was just acting just strange, like strange people would act.
Yeah.
It didn't seem too much to me.
No. Now, let me just clarify that scene.
Okay.
For what I remember of that scene,
I mean, we've only seen it one time.
right, is that he starts to say that, and we believe immediately we're like, oh my gosh, he's going to reveal Bruce Wayne's identity to people.
Yeah.
But then he checks it and is like, oh, see, we can get guys like Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Right.
You
They
know?
switched.
Right. I mean, he was like,
Good point. I forgot about that.
Batman standing there going, oh shit, he knows who I am. He knows who I am. But then he says, no, that's the kind of guy we're going to go after next. We're going to get guys like Bruce Wayne and the DA and all these big time
Now,
people.
by the way, that brings up one unrealistic part about Batman superhero. If you have Pattinson with this huge jaw and you can't figure out, you're the
right.
when you meet him, you can't put two and two together.
I think
Yeah.
that actually no, with all this
Superman
COVID stuff where you have
situation.
masks on, but your eyes are exposed, it's very easy to make it out. I don't think it's that easy to make out me.
But wouldn't they be using like
Facial recognition
facial
software.
recognition software?
Yeah, you could just focus on
Oh my
the
gosh,
chin.
we've got this vigilante, but we don't know his face. Okay, I'm gonna take our best photo of him and put
Okay.
it through, all kinds of facial recognition stuff.
Yeah.
They'd be able to find out.
I bet you they would.
What did you think about, like The Dark Knight, all the Nolan movies, big action movie,
Right.
semi trucks flipping over. This one, they kept the big action scenes just a few.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let them build up to a great scene. I think that was better than, like a Marvel movie where you're just expecting everything to be bigger and bigger and
Right.
bigger
Yeah.
and bigger.
Yes.
Well, I suspect the next Batman movie will have a little bit bigger, more
maybe
interesting. I mean, we
It's inevitable.
I mean, he's
I
got
would
to have
tend
new
agree.
gadgets. He's got to have, I don't know. I mean,
But I agree that they definitely didn't push it. I mean, yeah, it was a big car chase, which is pretty typical of a lot of movies, and then him flying down and his little getaway, that one scene, and
then
a lot of it was
the flooding.
The flooding, right? That obviously the big finale there. Otherwise, it's a lot of like hand fighting in bars and in dark alleys and shit.
I don't know. It never gets old to me to have the Batmobile be chasing somebody. I love it. Each movie, it's okay.
I like that he didn't have.
Loved it.
You know, he's still. We're assuming he's a millionaire, but he wasn't like Christian Bale, where he had all the computers and pretty much
and
everything was
driving a Lamborghini around.
He was actually having to go and like think about things, like he was being a real detective.
Yeah, and in previous movies, he'd be like a cool bachelor, more like Tony Stark in Iron Man, where he's dating all the hot women.
He didn't have unlimited tech. You know what I mean? Like
not at all.
He just had a really cool camera, basically.
It did. I totally agree. Yeah, that was very, very notable, and obviously they did that on purpose. It was, grappling hooks and his eyeball.
Well, even the surviving mayor said to him, in the past, the Waynes have always donated to charity and all that, but you haven't done anything. Because he's taken the little money that he's had, and he's just been focused, singularity, on getting, revenge and cleaning up this, the crime in the town.
Best Catwoman ever? Better than Anne Hathaway? What do you think?
Definitely.
I mean, to me...
Yeah, she was
felt
best.
like it was almost like
Michelle Pfeiffer, Halle Berry. I mean,
Halle Berry had her own Catwoman movie,
right?
And they said that was the end of her career.
Right.
This felt like James Bond and Vesper. I mean, this felt like Bond girl almost. Real connection.
Yes.
I know. It's like I can see this coming back again, and they're having a relationship.
Oh yeah, I hope he finds her in the next movie.
Yeah, I mean,
they'll have little furry pets. Babies.
A dog,
a bat, and a cat. They did kiss. I mean, that was. And did I get it? Did I notice
she
that right?
She kissed him. I don't know if he kissed her.
You know what? There's a final scene where I could have sworn he's starting to kind of come in towards a kiss for her, and then he kind of pulls back.
Okay.
Or something weird happened.
I can't wait to watch this.
Where he had a little bit of affection towards her that he was.
I may go see it on Tuesday.
Otherwise, he was totally stoic and would have no.
Yeah.
He just had the same look on his face, which was cool, but there was no humor. There was hardly any talking.
Yeah.
And
it might become a detriment. I mean, I may start to say he's too joyless.
I mean, no, this movie is 100% like The Lodge. This is a joyless movie. But
no,
you have to like. That's why I like it.
Well, I agree with Don that sometimes we need a little bit of humor.
Yeah, that's why I like Marvel movies, because they're so fun to watch.
Watch the Righteous Gemstones.
Or watch James Gunn, how he's taken some of those movies and added some humor to it to bring it back. Guardians of the Galaxy,
but then
forth.
It would just be another movie with humor. There isn't anything like this. There's nothing to compare against this level of doom, dread.
Right.
What was the other word you used?
You said,
brooding.
Brooding was his mood.
There's nothing like this movie.
True, but in all movies, there's a certain pacing. You go through a stressful time, then you relax it for the audience. But you might break it up with a little bit of humor, and just take the audience into different spots emotionally.
But you don't want to do that. That's cookie cutter to me. I like this.
You know why it's cookie cutter? Is because it works.
Oh, well, this made 120 million this weekend. It works. I don't know. We're going to talk about
I'd like to see a little bit more, just a touch more humanness in Batman, the next one.
It could get old. I mean, it could.
I don't know. I mean,
doesn't take a lot.
It wouldn't take
Couldn't
a lot.
take
right.
a little bit, and
no.
Could even be some. It could be the Penguin. What the Penguin says.
Maybe-
It doesn't even have to be the Batman.
Maybe
No.
when you watch it again, you'll see there is something a little more humorous in it the second time.
Yeah, I think there was a tiny little bit here and there.
Tiny bit.
But growth. You know, they say the best like characters, have some growth, have an arc. So I imagine we'll see like Tony Stark, his character. Go back to Iron Man a lot. He started out in those movies being, like a real alcoholic-y kind of womanizer, and then by the end of it, he was a loving father.
Right, yeah.
And like so maybe he's gonna this Bruce Wayne will have
Good
an arc
point.
where maybe he will continue to connect with Catwoman or something.
She'll
like
be the
that.
Vespa that's in trouble, and he's got to save her.
Yeah, something like that.
So
Maybe she dies.
How does it rank? We're getting to the end
Oh,
here.
boy.
How does this rank among all your other, Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, who else do we have here? Christian Bale.
I'd say it's number one.
Oh, okay.
I
would
want to
say-
say number 1 or 2.
Yep, I think it is. Like you said, Dave. You look back at these other movies and they look a little bit dated. I think maybe it's just because it's so fresh, but I mean,
It always has the advantage of being recent. People
does.
say the Daniel Craig James Bonds were the best.
Mm-hmm.
Again, those are a
Definitely
little
were.
bit more real, and our culture demands
It does.
an improvement, and we want more from the movie and more reality. I guess if there's anything in a superhero movie that's
you're
real,
taking the Batman
We want
and
it real,
you're
and this is
you're-
real.
You're
Kind of.
slowly
I agree, Bill.
improving it since the 40s. You know what I mean?
Right.
We know what we want, and they're improving it. They could have
this
easily.
is 2021, 2022.
They could have made this, with Mr. Freeze and made it ridiculous.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Nobody wants to see that anymore.
What
No.
about you, Dave? Where do you rank it?
5-star, best movie of the year. I would say
And as far as Batman's,
best Batman ever for sure. It'll be my favorite one.
that makes sense to me because you're a gritty guy.
I mean, this is nearly a horror movie at
Right.
times. You
Right.
know.
right.
I would say if they would have put in a little bit more horror, I would rate it higher.
If it could have been R,
and
if it
the
could have been
Joker,
R.
I didn't like watching it. It was like too serious.
Mm.
I didn't like the Joker. He's
Oh.
cleaning his mother's
Yeah, it was too
back and
to
all
me.
that.
That was too depressed.
It
That
was too depressing
yeah.
No, I
So-
think these movies pair well together.
They do pair well. I
with the
definitely
reality, but I'll take reality with a little bit of.
I was actually hoping
Something
that
else.
I was hoping that we were going to see Joaquin Phoenix at the end of this movie,
Yeah.
or
but-
we were going to have somebody chanting or seeing a mask or something.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you showed me the new Joker. He'll be in the next movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's creepy as fuck too.
It is interesting how they do that. I mean, DC does not have a problem with having like multiple characters and, different universes that do not bump into each other. There's a Joker universe now and there's this universe and that you're not going to see, Robert Pattinson in a in a Justice League movie.
Okay,
I don't think.
let's go around the table.
I don't know, maybe.
Give a numeral score and a recommend.
All right.
Just for a special occasion.
I would say I recommend it and I give it an A.
I recommend it, and I give it a 9.5.
Yeah, Don, you didn't give it a number.
Oh, you said number. I'm sorry.
Number, because that's really fine from 1 to 100.
Okay. 9.
90 out of 100.
Oh, out of 100, 90.
Oh,
Okay.
out of 100, 95.
Okay, yeah, Bill, you're right there. 95, an A. I'll go 96 just so I like it a little more than Bill.
Yep.
But
I'm going to say I said 90 because I don't like long movies.
nothing is perfection, right? If you could have if I could have changed a couple characters, which did not wreck the movie, but you could have squeezed in that extra 4% to make it a perfect movie,
That would be impressive. I mean,
that was it. But, maybe somebody else thinks it's perfect.
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. I
5
just
stars.
loved that, even though it was 2 hours and 50 minutes. I loved every minute.
Well, that's a movie that, I don't care how long it is. I wish it was 4 hours long. Like,
I know what you're saying.
it's going to
I
be
know what
over.
you're saying.
Why do I'm not in a hurry. I'll watch it another day if I'm in a hurry. I just watched Anna for 9 hours.
right, exactly.
Right? Batman's only 3 hours.
Yeah, I feel you, but I like movies that are a little tighter. But
Keep talking, keep
but it's a
talking,
good
fellas.
movie. Boy, oh boy, that was worth it. It's going to be tough to
And you ask yourself, how do you feel
tough
when
to,
you
to top it.
when I just felt I saw a great movie, and I was just like in awe when I left the theater.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'll be shocked if anything's better than this
I
year.
agree with
Doctor
Masterpiece.
Strange, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't know.
But it's going to be very different. I will probably watch Doctor Strange a lot
more.
But that's just the way I am. I like
I'll
Disney.
watch Godzilla vs. Kong probably more than Batman.
There you go.
I loved it.
Good deal. Okay. Well, there you go. Until next time. Goodbye.
10-4 over and out.
Later.